Hello, and welcome back to another episode of The Road to an Effective Classroom Environment, where we inspire educators, spark change, and strengthen the soul of education. I am your host, Dr. Lashawnte, also known as the Classy Sassy Consultant, educator, author, and lifelong learner. Today's episode is entitled Welcome to Empowered Educators. So, this episode will help to set the tone for a year of growth, connection, and transformation. So, let's get started. So, we're going to look at what is a clear picture of an effective classroom. An effective classroom isn't just a tidy area of desk or colorful anchor charts. And although those things are great to have, when you are setting the tone for an effective classroom environment, it is all about the space where students and adults they feel safe, seen, and supported. It's an environment that is meant to be emotionally responsive, culturally relevant, and intellectually engaging. So the tidy desk and rows and the anchor charts, they do serve a purpose, but those are only a part of that vehicle. It's that vehicle on that road to having an effective classroom environment. So just keep in mind as you're setting that tone, think about your space, think about how your room feels when someone walks in, whether it's your students or other adults. Your environment in that classroom is meant to be one of support. So in 2025, 2026, we're not chasing perfection. We're building trust. We're shaping experiences. We're cultivating climate and culture. We're not just focusing on content delivery. So it's not just about content. So don't get me wrong. You are there to educate. You are there to provide those lessons for your students so that they can gain that knowledge that they will need to take with them, whether it's into the next level of class or whether it's to take them beyond the classroom walls. But 2025, 2026, we are building trust. We are shaping experiences. We're cultivating climate and culture. And we are wanting to make sure that content delivery is on point. But when we build on a basis of trust, then you will be able to have students who are ready and willing every day to walk through your doors, and they are ready and prepared to be sponges of learning. And so some of the key points that you'll hear in this episode will deal with psychological safety, predictable routines, high expectations with high support, and student voice and ownership. These are all important segues into an effective classroom environment. So now let's look at some intentional moves that can help shape your classroom culture this year. We're going to talk about 5 intentional strategies that will help you to build an effective classroom environment. So number 1 is greeting your students by name every day. This begins the human connection. And just a simple act of saying good morning, good afternoon, this helps to build a sense of belonging for that student in your classroom. Number 2, set clear collaborative norms. So there was a time in which classroom rules are what you heard more of. And there may still be in some segments of the United States where you will hear classroom rules over classroom expectations. So that has evolved. When you use the word classroom expectation, it helps to bring about a positive tone. And also, you start to move away from just compliance for students into a commitment. The students are more committed to following expectations. And so they're more willing to engage in the work and less likely to engage in misbehavior. So making sure that you set clear collaborative norms and give the students an opportunity to create one expectation for the class. That also gives them a sense of involvement and they feel like they really belong in that classroom. Number 3, use predictable structures. So you want to make sure that you have routines that are set in your schedule for your students. Whenever there are set routines, then you have where students feel more emotionally safe in that classroom. They're not on pins and needles trying to guess whether or not you're coming from left field with an assignment that involves subject matter that you hadn't even covered. There's a difference between giving students an assignment in which they're having to take hours and hours to complete that comes out of left field and giving them a pop quiz. Pop quizzes are expected. When you let the students know, keep in mind that there will be pop quizzes during the time that you're in my class. That is a predictable structure, even though it's a pop quiz. So make sure that you have routines in place, whether that is the first 10, 15 minutes of class, you're focusing on reviewing with the students, you're setting the tone and going into your lesson. Find out from your principal how he or she would like your room to be set. Many times this tone is kind of set already, but there are times in which you have your leadership give you an opportunity to add to what they already expect to happen in that classroom. So be sure that you find out from your principal exactly what type of routines does he or she recommend, or what is the standard for that school or for the school district, because sometimes those plans are already kind of in place, but you as an educator you may have some liberty to add to what's already there. So predictable structures. Number 4, design for engagement, not compliance. So this looks like when you are using project-based learning, that is an opportunity for students to use their own voice in that particular project. So even though there may be guidelines and rubrics to follow, they have an opportunity to give to put more engagement into that project because they're able to put their stamp of who they are in it as well. um, give the students an opportunity to share their voice, to let their voices be heard in an assignment. Because when you engage them, this is empowerment, engaging them in the lessons. Design your activities for engagement. And that may look differently from subject to subject. So keep in mind what one teacher may do in an English class may look totally different from what's done in a CTE classroom, or from social studies to science. But the point here is that you want to find those lessons, create those lessons, have those activities that will not only support the content delivery, but also engage the students in the lesson. And then number 5, lead with curiosity and grace. You are going to make mistakes. And sometimes we as adults, we don't want to show that we have made a mistake. There's nothing wrong in making a mistake. Your students are going to make mistakes. And so when you build an environment of trust, then that allows you as well as your students the grace to grow stronger each and every day that you come into that room. Mistakes are going to be made, but make sure that your students learn from their mistakes. Show them, go back over why a question was missed on a test, on a quiz, or even if a student is answering a question in class, run it back and let them see exactly where their mistake was in their answer, but still making sure that you're not shunning them for that wrong answer. And so when you do that, that gives you the opportunity to grow gracefully, for your students to grow as well as yourself. So those are just some of the 5. Those are 5 strategies for building an effective environment. There are so many more, but those are our 5 that we looked at. Greeting students by name every day, setting clear collaborative norms, using predictable structures, designing for engagement, not compliance, and then leading with curiosity and grace. And so, as I bring this episode to a close, we'll have another episode hopefully next Sunday or it may be at the end of my first day of school, which is next Monday. The students are coming back in tomorrow. Our staff members come back. So always excited to see everyone back and to hear how their summer went. For those of them that had summers, because we had some educators that were working even with our students during our summer programs and also supporting in other areas. But it's always good just to see the educators back into the building and to reconnect so that we can have another fabulous year. So we'll have another segment, but I wanted to give you just a few strategies to help you get started for this 2026 school year. So hear me out. Keep in mind that you are not just preparing your students for tests, you are preparing them for life. The environment you create becomes the launch pad for their voice, their choices, and their dreams. So, as you step into this next school year, 2025, 2026, I challenge you to do these things. Love loudly, love your students, love on them, plan purposefully. Planning matters. Reflect regularly. Every day, reflect on the work that you have done and things that you've said. And lead boldly. No matter what your role is in education, you are a leader. Lead boldly each and every day. Keep in mind, you are not the thermostat, not the thermometer. Let me rephrase. You are the thermostat, not the thermometer in your classroom. So set the climate, set the tone for this year. And so I thank you for checking out this episode of The Road to an Effective Classroom Environment. And if this episode lit a spark, share it with your team, your leadership, or even some of your teaching buddies. And so let's walk this road together. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and also head over to the Lee James Consulting LLC.com for more resources, coaching, and professional development opportunities. And so until next time, keep in mind to lead with the heart, teach with courage, and never underestimate your impact. I am Dr. Lashawnte, also known as the Classy Sassy Consultant. Have a good one. Until next time.